Pakistan escalated tensions by initiating unprovoked firing across the international border in Jammu's Pargwal sector overnight following days of ceasefire violations. Every morning we wake up to see more reports of firing taking place. It's been 8 days now since the Pahalgam terror attack in which 26 people were dead. Will India retaliate? And if so, can we premeditate what the government may be thinking? Joining us now, General Ashok Kumar, General Sanjay Kulkarni and Ambassador Yash Sinha. General Kulkarni, let me come to you first. India has many options at this stage, and I think there is this sense that it's about to happen. My contention is that nobody can say when an attack will take place and the nature of the attack that's going to take place. It may not be air strikes, it may not be ground strikes, it could be all together. So therefore, what's your message to people watching this broadcast, when we talk about retaliation?
Thank you, Shom. You're absolutely right. Nothing would be done in a hurry. The freedom been given to the armed forces to decide the day, time, location of their choosing. But notwithstanding that, the ceasefire violations have been continuing. They held on from 2021 for a long time, giving relief to the people staying all along the LOC, or I could call it the ex-LOC since the similar agreement is suspended now. Yeah. But notwithstanding all that, but yes, retaliations will continue. Hopefully, with the two DGMOs having spoken, if we find some ease there, then I think overall things might just ease off. But all pressures on Pakistan will continue. That there is no doubt. For a very simple reason that Pakistan ought to be taught now a lesson. It is not just Pakistan. Until and unless the source of terror is hit extremely hard, it will never ever happen. Otherwise, we'll end up doing Balakot with surgical strikes and again reappearing. So whatever we do now at this point of time has to be done with deliberation, has to be done with taking everybody on board, and to be able to strike in such a manner that at least Pakistan never wakes up and it finds it rather impossible to ever become a hub of terrorism. Because all along since independence, Pakistan has been using terrorism as an instrument of state policy. What else do we have? We have no option. We've had enough, and therefore the first is the IWT, which itself will start showing results very soon. And then, of course, if it doesn't work, I think the military action is on the cards. But then these are options that are available: diplomatic options, economic options, political options, all military options. Well, war is the last option. Let's be very honest about it. War is the last option. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without a fight. That's the way we look at it, but it is an option which cannot be ruled out.
Ambassador Sinha, beyond what India has done diplomatically, is there anything left to be done?
Well, I think we're going up an escalatory ladder. The first arrows left the bow, so to speak. And as far as the Indus Water Treaty is concerned, I think people feel that it's a very small step. It isn't. You see the panic that decision has caused, the holding in abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty. Of course, cancellation of visas, etc., all that is par for the course. But I expect that as we go along, there's going to be a very calibrated, kinetic action, and that would be on multiple fronts. It doesn't necessarily have to be a strike through the air or a land incursion or whatever. I think the best is to keep the enemy guessing. And I'm using the word enemy because I think people must understand who our enemy is. I mean, in Pakistan, when I was in Pakistan, there was never any doubt in the Pakistani mind from a child to an adult who the enemy was. But we have been prevaricating all the time. I think it's quite clear the time has come that every Indian must rally behind the government. And I'm quite confident that whatever action our leadership takes will certainly resound in Pakistan. It will have an impact. And I do hope that they will abjure terrorism as an instrument of state policy. It's a hope. They've promised it many times in the past, but they have never really delivered. But if they think that they can use terrorism and switch on and off the faucet of terrorism, I think they're mistaken, because they're up against a country, against India, and a government that believes that this must stop. And if it doesn't stop, then action will be taken to ensure that it stops.
General Kumar, again, a lot of people may be thinking that Pakistan has carried out these terror attacks in Pahalgam and elsewhere. India can get into some sort of a surgical strike, some very pointed bombing, pointed attacks to send a message. But I would suggest that if you get into a military strike situation, it can last for an extended period of time. One thing leads to the other, and we could be facing all-out war. So would you agree with me, General Kumar, that we need to be prepared in our minds that this could be much larger than what most people are thinking if India were to resort militarily?
Vishnu, thank you for having me on your discussion. You have to watch deliberately the actions taken by India so far and the actions being taken by the Pakistani establishment so far. Now, this event happened in Pahalgam on 22nd of April. 23rd April, all the people who mattered and were out of the country rushed back, and we had the cabinet committee security meeting. And those 5 decisions which were taken, they were all political, diplomatic, economic, and none of those were related to the really force utilization. Now, as against that, at that point of time, what was being done by Pakistan? Now, Pakistan activated the entire line of control from north to south and, breaking the ceasefire. They mobilized their 12 corps from the Balochistan area. Both the divisions moved to the Indian borders, and more mobilization is, taking place at the moment. They have activated their air defense. They have activated their electronic warfare instruments. They have alerted their, entire air force to that extent. So they are expecting a kind of, serious action from India in the immediate time frame. Now, while in the previous time when Uri and Pulwama happened, and we did the ground surgical strike and the Balakot strike, while we were able to send the political messaging correctly, but the damage in real sense was limited. Now, this is the 3rd time which has happened, and the Prime Minister has categorically announced that those people who are behind this attack will not be left, and we must grant full credibility to him, and also look at the subsequent events the way they are unfolding. The armed forces, Army, Navy and Air Force have been given full freedom to select the target, to timing and method in which they have to undertake. I, as of now, don't foresee a full-fledged conventional war breaking out, because if you see the activities of even today, the activities of the cabinet meeting on various issues, the development of infrastructure, the all political issues, everything is going as per the national development scheme. While the kinetic action is a must for people to believe that the real action has been taken, but when that is going to take, in what manner that is going to be taken, I think we should let the decision makers dwell on that. Because in case we start suggesting, that we should go in for full-fledged conventional war, we should be ready for escalation matrix. It is a common thing whenever armies prepare for conflict.
I completely agree with you, General Kumar. I think in a situation like this, every second person tends to become an armchair general or an armchair admiral, myself included. But I think it's important not to get ahead of ourselves. But I think it is important to understand that whatever is being done deliberately. It's being done slowly for a reason. We leave it over there. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. The war on terrorism, it's a war that has been inflicted on India. India needs to respond. There are multiple ways of doing that. We've seen a series of diplomatic steps. Will there be military action? If so, what's that going to achieve? These are all important issues to which right now at this stage there are no clear answers. We'll take a short break. There's more coming up.